Hello and welcome back everyone to my kitchen here. It's Only Cooking and I'm John Ruska. And you'll see my producer has me working overtime today. That's why the afternoon sun is giving what she called a very cinematic look to our cooking surface. So we're gonna hustle along here while we still have that afternoon sun. Today we're gonna do something a little bit different. I know I promised that everything's always simple and not a lot of ingredients and not any special ingredients, but I don't think there's too many here and we can make it work. What we're going to cook today is a salmon bowl. This is a great dish for a lot of people who may not think they like salmon. We have an 8-year-old granddaughter and she will eat hers and everyone else's who won't eat it. So she loves this dish and I don't know that she's a big salmon person. So if you got salmon people in your house, they may want to try this dish. So anyway, it has a few components and we're going to start with our mise en place as we always do. So what we have over on the right here is of course our bowl to place our waste products, peels, things like that. We're going to mix our main marinade sauce in this bowl and that's going to be our topping. All our implements we think we're going to need. I'm sure I'll need more. Over here on this side across the cutting board, all these vegetables here are going to go in the bowl. There's also going to be edamame, but that's right now cooking in the microwave. Has to heat up for 5 or 10 minutes, so that'll be ready when we need it. This is the rice we're going to have in the dish. That's a basis of our bowl. We're going to make a cup of rice or so. So you need 1 cup. We're going to rinse this off and talk about that in a minute. We've got our garlic that goes in the marinade. Going to be about 2 teaspoons of garlic. We've got sriracha, and our sriracha, it's pretty easy to remember, is going to be 2 tablespoons of sriracha for this, a tablespoon of sriracha for the topping, 3 tablespoons of water, 2 tablespoons of honey, a tablespoon of, you can either use low sodium soy sauce or what's called tamari. Again, it's another soy sauce. We're using the low sodium today. And then for our topping, we have the Kewpie mayonnaise. It's a little bit different mayonnaise in that it's got more egg yolk in it. Again, some mirin here. You can use mirin. If you don't have mirin, it will work with rice wine vinegar and a little sugar. That's basically what it is. It's fermented sake. Sesame seed oil. Again, that's a tablespoon of each of those. And a little bit of, we're going to take a little poetic freedom here, and it's called Togarashi, is that right? Is that right, Mr. Togarashi? Okay, so we're going to use just chili powder, which will work really well on the topping. So what we want to do is get started first making our sauce. So let's get our bowl over here, and we're just going to combine our ingredients. It's going to be pretty simple and straightforward. Let's get a little spatula out here. So we'll put our 3 tablespoons of sriracha in the sauce, and the marinade, sorry. This is the marinade. Now, if I use wrong terms and things of that nature, it's because, as my wife says, I'm not a chef, I'm not a line cook, I'm not trained in much, but I'm a COVID cook. So during COVID, we were all trapped in our houses. I took the time to research and find some recipes further than just hamburgers and bologna sandwiches. So that's what we got here. So we're going to put in our 3 tablespoons of water. That's just to kind of cut it a little bit because we have some pretty thick ingredients in here. 2 tablespoons of honey. You can use any kind of honey, but we have usually some really fancy honey that we get from local growers, but I wouldn't use that necessarily on this dish, so we just got some store brand honey. And then the soy, that's going to go in our marinade. Get our little whipper out here. Now, what this marinade is pretty potent. So and we're using it on salmon. Now, this dish can use salmon, probably chicken works real well because you can use chicken. I wouldn't recommend beef or pork, but you know what? It's only cooking. Give it a try. What's the worst that can happen? You have some seasoned steak or some seasoned pork. So we're going to mix that in. We're going to get the garlic in there. And again, this just calls for 2 teaspoons. So, you know, garlic doesn't come with labels on it when you're making it. So we're going to come up with what looks like about 2 teaspoons here. Let's see, that's pretty close. That's close enough. Carefully measured. A lot of the other things that I put in ingredients, and you know I'm famous for saying we're not, building a ship to Mars. I guess that's a new one now because that's where Elon's taking everyone to Mars. We're not building a ship to go there. So it's not baking. It's only cooking, so we don't measure very closely. But for this marinade, I want to get the right blend of flavors, so it wasn't that hard to use a tablespoon. Put 3 of them in there, 3 of that. I didn't measure right to the top and use a leveler. I just pretty much poured it in. But you got a pretty nice marinade here now. So what we'll do next, getting a little out of sequence here, we've got some salmon fillets here. And we're going to take these salmon fillets, and these are, I did something a little bit different here. Let's get this out. We're going to use this because I don't want to have to wash my whole board again right away. So we're going to use this board to cut our salmon. Now, it's been sliced into fillets like this rather than one piece because it's going to be easier to do our next piece to this. Now, this still has the skin on it. You can leave it on if you want. The recipes I've seen many versions of a salmon bowl. Some leave that on. Not my thing. So we're gonna take that off. This will make it easier to get the skin off than having to fillet and get a fillet knife and try to get that off without losing all your meat. The other thing you want to do is on salmon, when you buy it, you want to run your fingers over it, and you want to make sure there's no bones in there. And the bones are they're pretty substantial. You'll know they're in there. They're an inch and a half long. Get yourself some some good kitchen pliers that are nice and clean. You're not going to use them anything for but the kitchen. And you just grab a hold of them and they pull right out. There shouldn't be too many in. Most times the butchers take care of that. So if we take this and put it on its side, it shouldn't. I say that, and then I'll probably cut off half the meat. But we're going to take this because we want to make here 1-inch cubes. Now you can, my granddaughter would hate the dark part, so we're going to make sure we get it all off there nice and clean. But again, the skin won't hurt you, especially when we're going to fry it. We're going to fry it pretty substantially, so it will be real easy to cook it off when we fry it. This dish, if you're not doing all the explaining and all the things we're doing, the longest part took was assembling the mise en place. Again, you put the mise en place together because when you get to the cooking part, you want to cook. So what you don't want to do is be racing against something boiling or something browning on the stove, trying to cut something up or get it measured out before your time runs out. So it's just great to have all your mise en place in place, ready to go. That's too thin to really do anything with. We're going to eliminate that piece. And again, this is why I'm not doing the full graham cur, which have a big glass of wine and really enjoying myself. My producer won't allow it, so I have to talk to my union rep. So here we go. We're going to take this one last piece. Again, that's a little thin. You can't do a lot with that. It's just so thin you can't really get an inch good cut out of it. So, and I should have cut this one a little thinner. Now we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way here, and I don't have my filleting knife out, so we will do the best we can. Again, it's only cooking. We're not trying to make a Michelin star salmon fillet here, so we just want to get it clean so we can saute it. Now we're going to cut the salmon into 1 inch by 1 inch. Again, it's part of it. You want to make them large enough so that when you're sauteing them, if you've ever made salmon, had salmon, you know it's a relatively delicate fish when you begin to cook it. So if you make it too small, it's going to fall apart for you on you, and then you won't have a nice looking dish. This cooks really fast as well. Hard to overcook it because it's got that great marinade it's going to have in. Good thing about this marinade, it's 20 minutes at a minimum. You could do a full hour, up to a full hour. You don't want to go too much past it. It doesn't need it. You'll have the full flavor just by putting it in there for about 20 minutes. And that gives you enough time for your rice to cook. Now, we're going to get to the rice in a minute. And I don't think I can, we're going to cut that in half. Again, you can see, carefully measured, aren't we? 1 inch by 1 inch. Some of these are half inch, some of these are a quarter. It's okay. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to put this into the marinade. We're going to put it in some Ziploc bags. And we'll come back in just a few minutes, and we'll get onto the rice. I want to talk about rice for a minute and a couple of options that you have. Rice is a tricky thing. Some people don't like to cook rice. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to make while the rice is cooking, we're going to make the sauce that goes over top. And then we'll cut up our vegetables, all those things that have to go into that. And then we'll get to putting the dish together, sauteing the marinated salmon, and we'll go from there. So we'll see you all in just a few minutes. Thanks.
Canine Stray Rescue is Oxford's own local dog rescue. Call them at 248-628-0435 or go to their website dogsaver.org and click on the Canine Stray Rescue League link.
Welcome back to It's Only Cooking. And I wanted to talk just very briefly about the rice. My producer tells me everybody knows how to cook rice. I do too. I buy the little packages, put them in the microwave for 2 minutes, and they're done. That's how you can cook rice, but that tastes like rice you cooked in the microwave. It's really quite simple. I've got the water heating up on the stove right now, but there's a couple ways you can do it. 1 cup rice. Again, this is one I tell you it's only cooking, we don't measure, but here I'm going to measure. 1 cup rice, 1 3/4 cup salted water, boil it for 18 minutes, take it off for 5-6 minutes to let it just kind of steam out itself off the heat. And after that, pull the lid off, fluff it, put a tea towel over it so that it doesn't get over soaked. So what I do is we rinsed this rice. And the reason you rinse it is, even in packaging, no matter what it is, your rice gets dirt, dust, just in the, it's a product that's in the field, right? So it's going to get dirt and dust and things like that. Won't hurt you. People have been eating rice that's not rinsed off for years. But when you rinse it, it does a couple things. It gets all that off of there, especially if it's not enriched rice, which they put a little bit of vitamins on it. It doesn't matter. You can wash it off. But it also removes some of the starch so that it's not as sticky. Rice is one of your stickiest grains along with a potato. So that gets a little bit off there, and it gives it a little jump start on getting the water into. This is where water's not our enemy. We want water to get into this rice. Okay, I'm just going to reach behind me, put that in there, and get it going. Again, we're going to do this. Put a little salt. Give it a quick stir. You don't want to stir it too much because you'll just undo everything you just did. I set my timer for 18 minutes. You'll notice I put it in there through just a quick couple of pinches of salt. That just helps give it a little flavor. If you would like to, you can use a little bit of broth, chicken broth, vegetable broth. A lot of restaurants do that just to give the rice a little extra flavor. If you don't want to do that and you're worried about it being a little too salty, you don't have to do it. You don't even really have to put salt in the water, but I kind of like to do it. I think it just makes it separate better. So what we'll do while the rice is cooking, we're going to get going on the rest of the vegetables that are going to be in the rice bowl, a salmon bowl, and we're going to make the sauce right now that's going to go over it. It's going to be a Kewpie mayonnaise, like a spicy Kewpie sauce. So we start with just 2 tablespoons of this mayo. This will keep in the fridge for about 3 to 5 days, Miss Producer, about 3 to 5. And then we put a little of our mirin in there. Again, that's the sake or the rice wine with sugar. We put our, if you've never used this is really a great tasting thing. It's sesame oil. And when you can smell it from here, just pouring it in. It adds a lot of flavor. And the other thing too is just a little bit of chili powder. Now we'll get out a quick stir on this. And Now, to give it that nice, pretty color, I want to get all the dry ingredients in there pretty good first. And then we'll put some sriracha. Hopefully it all comes out in the cleaners here. Let's see. All right. There we go. Another mess averted. Okay. Now we'll give this, that should give it that nice orangey, tells you there's something a little bit spicy inside. So there's our sauce. We're ready to go with that. We're gonna put some avocado on this. I already taken one out, but that avocado was a little underripe, and that makes it a little too hard to use. So they're not that big a deal. You see how easy that was to take out of there. We'll use our persuader spoon here, and we're gonna make it in little strips. My producer says she likes to have it be like little fans, so we're gonna pull out one big piece like that. You can see how nice that comes out. We're gonna have a lot of avocado. That's the good stuff for you. A lot of good antioxidants in avocado. So we have that. And I think what we can do then is we can just cut these into nice little sections, nice little segments. And of course, I talk about mise en place, and guess what? I don't have sitting here is my little plate to put this on. So we'll just leave these on the board here for a minute till we can get to that. We have some cucumber, and again, I add another cucumber here, so we are ready to go with cucumber. Just the slices, it's nothing really complicated here. Okay, so we've got a lot of nice avocado here. This is the color you're looking for. We'll put this one aside. We'll use that for another dish later. Cucumbers here. Those are all ready for us to go. I like to again, I like to take the peeler and put a little stripe on it. I think it makes it look pretty. We are going to have kind of some similar shades of green in the bowl when we get to it. So I want to make it as colorful as I can. I'm going to peel off some of this outer skin of this mango. You know, that's what you get on these shows. Sometimes you think you got a good ripe vegetable and they're not quite ready for prime time. This one is. So this is real good right here. So we're going to cut some little wedges of this off here. I don't want to get too far. I don't want to get the pit. So let's get some nice pieces. Get rid of this. Let's get another plate here. We can plate this up. I'll make some pretty ones for the side. Let's get some. We'll do them a couple different ways. That way, when we're putting it together, we'll see how we like it to look. If we want strips, let's get some of that green off there. If we want strips, or if we want cubes. This is a dish that the producer and I have made while under her close supervision. She has certain ways she likes things, so I'm on my own. I'm freestyling here right now. So here we go. We've got the mango, cucumber. The edamame is cooking its way right now in the microwave. It should be ready any minute. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of pull things together, clean up a little bit, and then we'll be back in just a few minutes and do the cooking of the salmon, and then we're going to assemble the bowl. So we'll look forward to seeing you in just a few minutes, and we'll see how it goes. Welcome back. We're moved everything over here to the stove now. We're going to give this rice a fluff up just to get it so that it's kind of ready to go. Looks like it came out perfect. So that's all we have to do with that. Now we're going to place just a tea towel over it. That keeps the heat in, but doesn't let the moisture get out of it. Okay, now we're gonna that's perfect. Saute our salmon. Let's turn that down just a little bit so we don't have an explosion here. I'm using something that's high smoke oil. This is an avocado oil. A tablespoon or so is all you need. We're gonna saute this pretty quickly. It takes only a handful of minutes, but it should be good. Let's see if oh yeah, we're going good. Again, you want to be as gentle as you can pulling these out so you don't try to break them up too much. And if you can keep them separated a little bit, that's going to work out better, because then you don't get steaming as much as you get some nice browning. And you want that little bit of brown look on the salmon, because that makes it look prettier when you're eating it. Just gives it a nice flavor and a nice texture in your mouth when you're eating it. I think we'll just do that much right now. I'll save some more for later. Again, I'm not putting this at too high of a temperature. I don't want to flash fry it and make it a hard burn on it. And be careful with it because it's starting to get very tender now. It's going to fall apart. See if I can show you the color. Can you see that color there, Miss Producer? Okay, just a nice color to it. Color is sometimes something that makes food taste good. You got a nice color to it, a nice texture to it, and that makes the whole dining or eating experience just that much better. Again, this doesn't take that long. We reserved the marinade that's in there because we're going to put some of that on this when it gets down closer to the end of the cooking. Again, you always kind of want to monitor your temperature. If it gets too hot, turn it down a little bit. If it's not sizzling enough for you, turn it up a little bit. Starting to get a good color on it now, kind of toasting it a little bit. The good thing about salmon is a lot of people, when they serve it medium rare. The reason why you don't typically want to make it well done, and when I say medium rare, it'll have a nice bright pink center, kind of like a medium rare steak. That removes or doesn't have a fishy flavor that way. When you overcook it, it tends to get dry and almost taste fishy. When you're cooking it with all this marinade on it, it eliminates that from the equation. You don't have to worry about it all. You can cook this pretty far through the process, and you won't have a problem with the flavor at all. The marinade keeps this very juicy. Now we put the rest of this marinade in so that it gives the flavor all over that nice browned salmon. All right, let's take a little quick break so we can. It'll be a quick break. We're not going anywhere, not to a commercial. We're just going to reposition the cameras and we'll get to the assembly. See you right in a second. Through the magic of television, what took a split second for you took a few minutes for us. We had to move everything over here. So we're going to quickly assemble while things are relatively warm in whatever temperature they're supposed to be. First, we still have our rice, nice and warm still. The towel did its job. So we have this beautiful rice, nice and flaky. We're going to put that in there. At the bottom of your bowl, this bowl is my producer's special bowl because this is her special dish. She typically makes this all the time and taught me this recipe. So she's been giving me the scornful looks when I've done things a little wrong, but she's made it about 50 times, and this is probably my second or third. But we said it has to be on this show because it's such a good recipe. And just throw something at me when I get to too much rice in it because I like a lot of rice in it. I want to fill that over because I got to have something to stack those cucumbers in. This is kind of also like modeling clay a little bit because we're going to use this to put everything in there and hold it up. So on top of that, we're going to put just a little dent so it holds all that delicious salmon in there. And that gives us also some more to poke into the sides. Let's hand pick the best pieces of salmon out of there, since this is the one for the show. Normally, you get what you get. It's potluck, but we're going to make this one because my producer, this is going to be her dinner tonight. Probably the producer's mom too. Oh, that wasn't good. So that'll be the cook's piece there. We always have to have a little bit for the cook. If I start stacking it on here too high again, Miss Producer says shoot a paper airplane over my head, but I think it needs a lot of salmon. Okay, and that's a lot of salmon. Now what we get to do is some of the fun stuff. We're gonna put this in the bowl, and this is just to your taste. There's no particular way to do this. We're gonna try and make it look as pretty as we can, and the idea is that you get little morsels of the rice and of the salmon, and you have it with these different pieces you want. So we got the cucumber in there. We're gonna put the edamame over here. We're gonna try to separate the unstructured from the structured a little bit. These are basically soybeans. You don't want the ones with pods, the producer says, because when you have those, you have to cook them, let them cool down, and then seed them and pull them out. So this is just an easier way to pull that together. Then we're going to put some of these nice little strips in here. We're going to make this look on each side like a little fan. Again, it's anything you want it to look like. And we're going to topple in some cubes there. Producer tried this at our last commercial break, and she said it's so good she's going to eat the mango tonight too. So you can get a little side dish out of it. Now the one that's going to be the most unseemly for me to deal with, because this stuff is soft. Apparently the producer again said I cut it wrong, so it won't make a nice fan. But I had a different art idea in mind, so we're gonna see what we can get. Another thing you could do is you could chop some green onions on this just to give it a nice look. And the last thing we're going to do is give this, because it sat there a little bit. This is our spicy Kewpie mayo. We're going to take that, and we're just going to put a nice, well, we'll see how we can do. Works better with a squeeze bottle, but we're going to make this work this way. Then you just put a drizzle in across everything. Give it a nice drizzle. And these are just toasted sesame seeds. It gives it kind of a pretty finished look. And we'll sprinkle some of those over it. Maybe a little over here in the edamame, make that look good. And there you have. I'm going to give a nice slow spin for the producer. And now the most important part of the entire show. Let's take a good bite of this. Let's get a little salmon in there. I'll pick on the side here. I want some edamame in there because I do like it. I'll get a little piece of avocado. That's all right. All I can put in it right now. We'll try a bite of this first. That sauce is the best. I got to have a piece of mango. A piece of mango, a little piece of salmon, and a piece of cucumber. Let's see what that does. These are all tastes and all flavors. You mix them. Folks, even if you have people in your house who say they don't like salmon, don't eat fish, try it with chicken. If you want to try it, if you don't want to try salmon. But this has so many flavors going on. It's an explosion of flavors. But the salmon, the mango, the cucumber, it's just delicious. And we haven't even dug down into the rice yet. That's the foundation of the whole building we made here. So, hope you enjoyed it. We have some other shows, some other recipes in store for you in the coming weeks. And we'll see you next time on It's Only Cooking.